Today I will be going over some of the new features and nodes I added in Qubit. Let's start with taking a look at this new scene that I created. We can still orbit our objects with the standard navigation, but now I added a new flying mode and we can navigate using AWASD, sort of like a game engine. Let's expand this window over here and we can fly around our environment. Shift will speed it up 2 times and the scroll wheel will give it faster or lower speed, and we can take a look at around the environment and fly anywhere. We can still edit our models in this mode, more like Unreal Engine. And yeah, that will be it for the new navigation mode. We can take a look at the texture nodes. I created different texture nodes. One of them is just a simple texture like this, and we can add a path to it, to a texture, and once we view that, it will show that texture on the actual model. Let's actually connect this one because the scale on that model is very big. And we focus on it. Oh, I gotta get out of the fly mode. There we go. So we can check the UVs that way. And the other node is the Texture Pro node. Oh. Pro. And this one comes with 2 different procedural textures. One is the checker, and it has the ability to toggle. It just switches like that. We can change the different sort of tile and texture resolution. This one is more for debugging. And then the second one is the matrix rain. This one we can toggle some of the settings like that. This one's too big. Take it down a bit. Yeah, I've kind of been playing with the different settings. Try to get more of the correct look. Let's see. I've already set this up, so let's have a look at the ones that I already created here. This one has a bit more full texture, and I created a different one with transparency so that way I can overlap it with the texture layer node. So in this case we have the 2 textures overlapping each other here, and I can control the alpha and change the background of the layer. So here you can set different backgrounds, same with here. This one, yeah, this one, so yeah, I can get the different background on the bottom one. There we go. Let's put it back to what it was. Yeah, something like that. And this one has no texture. This one I can slide the lighting, so how much the lighting affects. So right there I can see the light affects the color, but if I turn this down, now the lighting won't affect it. So it's kind of like a shader. Let's move on to the UV node. Created a UV Unwrap node. So actually it's better to show there's a new node, also a primitive node. This primitive node, I can create different just basic shapes. Create a tube and torus. And these ones don't have UVs. For example, this one, you can see the UVs on this. This one also has UVs. These are different models that I've been importing. And this one doesn't have UVs. So let's create the UVs with the UV Unwrap node. There they are. You can just attach a texture pro. Set it to this and let's tile it a couple times. Yeah, that's the idea. You can change the speed. The speed allows for longer trails. Gap, it's how often the rain goes on the same line or cell. Let's change it to a grid here, just so we can see it better. Plane. Generate the UVs again, and take a look at it like that. Actually, the best one is the cube. There's a cube. And we have an offset, so we can offset it left or right or up and down. We can also set the direction, so we can go right or left or down. Okay, so that's the best one. So let's take a look at volume selection. Because what happens is that in this case I wanted to have the texture running through different angles on the same model. So in this case, this model has UVs. It's not showing there, but it does have UVs. And this is the basic texture for the background. And it's running on the floor there, so that looks fine. But the walls are a little bit different, and so what I did is I took it and I set it on the transform. I scaled down this model a bit because it was too big when I imported it. So now it's a lot smaller, easier to navigate, and it fits on our grid. The transform nodes, I can give them, in this case I give them a primitive, and the primitive was scaled down. Then I fed the scaled down model of the environment, and I set it into the split volume node. The split volume node will display both the volume mesh and the mesh that I want to split. That way I can click the transform node and move it to a different place where I want to clip the mesh with, and once I'm ready I can then split it, and it will use that volume to split the model. It will save it into a different OBJ file, and I can then invert it using the invert button. That way I can split the other side. Again, they're reusing the same volume, same mesh. That way I can apply different textures and have the different textures go into different directions. So in here I have the texture layer, I have the transparent. This is just showing that this is a transparent texture. This is just to set up the different textures. I just fed them an example mesh, but now they're being used in the texture layer node, and the mesh that's coming into that is our split mesh. That way we can have the texture being printed in a different direction. And in this one, the opposite side, that way I have the floor going that way. And I can change the direction going like this. So let's say I want it up, down, and up, down. So now it's going the other way. So this is why I switched it to go right or left, like that. And in here, same thing. If I want it to go the other way, just change it here. There we go. Now we can combine them in the scene node. And that's what we get. The next node is going to be in here. You can see that there's two different seats, chairs, and one of them is the original and the other one is an instance. So this one is the instance. So what I did is I took the original chair with the texture and I created an instance node. We can create an instance node. And let's say we want another table. Let's take this one. Now let's plug it into the scene node. And there's 3 here. Let's change it to just 2, or just 1. So we just get 1 copy. Now we have, the table is very big, so select it. Okay, there it is. Just very big. And yeah, we can place it there. If we want another chair, since we already have one, we can just create a new one. View our scene. And there it is, the new chair. This one is the right size. Yep. And finally, there's the export node. So this node is just gonna export everything in our outliner, and it will export it as an FBX. Let's try that. That way we can import it into Unreal. It comes in split into different objects, so that way you can have the objects with different materials, and it exports their name attribute. So we have exported our model there. We can go and select it and just view it in here, and this is just one FBX file now with everything that we had in our scene, including our new chairs that we added. And this has UVs. Another thing that I'm working next is the camera. This camera can be placed in the scene and transformed like a normal asset, and it will be able to be used for creating some animations and render out some of the shots. That was all the different updates that I added. That will be it.